Who's the girl on the front row? Fletcher. Who's the girl on the front row on our phone? Easter School Post. What's her name? Oh, yeah, I know her. She used to be at Escabel, or is she still there? You need to write a retraction. Yeah. She misquoted. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. It's in the code, Virginia code. I'll go back and read. So he just sort of made up his own rules. Is that what you're saying? 25,000. Are there any towns on the shore of 25,000? No. The county, yes. I think we are close to that, if not the county. Who looked it up? So they're saying, no, you don't have to have it. Talk to who? Good. It's important that the press is.
That's pretty embarrassing. Okay. All right, are we rolling there? I don't know. Are you too cold or hot? It probably cranked down. Matt, what's the temperature set for in here? Okay, go check it out.
What it is, but I don't hear it.
Glad to see everybody's blacked out on the screen.
It's not going to do much good way down there. What was that for? Oh, yeah, no, we need to. All right, I'm going to like to call the meeting to order. We have the roll call, please, Debbie.
Councilmember Holdren.
Present.
Councilmember Marino.
Present.
Councilmember Knox. Here. Councilmember Oswald. Here. Councilmember Weitzel.
Here.
Mayor Foskey.
Okay, thank you. We have a quorum. Thank you. All right, the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, does anybody please turn your cell phones off, and does anybody have any motions to amend the agenda? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, should we allow public comment?
Are you making motion?
I'm making a motion that we do.
Discussion?
Yeah, I do too.
All in favor? Okay, okay.
Aye.
So if we didn't have a sign up sheet, so I'll just call you. It's probably too late to get everybody. I'll just call them, Debbie. Yeah. If possible, if you're going to say the same thing that the person in front of you said, I know I'm asking that, but kind of make it concise. Right. All right. Is there? It's not on the agenda. Where do you want to put public comment? All right.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Okay. Unless we want to do it before each thing and just have the specifics of each one.
That sounds
Okay. All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Public hearings are none scheduled. Public presentation, none scheduled. Council action, the town will consider adopting the following parking and special use If anybody would like to speak publicly about this, please raise your hand and I'll see if I can get you. Okay, the first one, I can't see who it is. Mary, yeah, come on up, please. Please just comment just about the parking ordinance. And the special use, yeah, we're going to lump them together.
Okay. Mary Clements, 8 Joint Street in Hancock and 59 Market Street. And I am one of the only people running for town. I am the only person running for town council that has a successful business in town and own a large business building, a commercial building. As far as stopping and standing is concerned, I don't have a lot to say, except for the parking part. It covers too wide of a zone area. It used to be divided into business, residential, and dock. You need to split it back again. The needs for each of those locations is different. They're different. So it needs to be divided back out. Also, 3 hours is too short. I've said this before. And it's too large of an area. And there are vehicles that are larger than a standard car size. Examples are church and public buses. And where are the signs for parking? And when will the yellow curbs be set up so that we know where to park and not to park or send people to? There's a lot of issues there and they have been there for a long time. I do not currently agree with this particular statement as it's written. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments about the parking or the special use permit? Okay, thank you. All right, Matt, you want to talk about the parking?
The planning commission took on the parking for months and months to come up with something that would solve or address 2 different problems. One is that employees of other businesses were parking in front of other businesses and taking the spot away from customers. So the goal was not to have someone park all day in front of somebody's store. And the other issue that we haven't had before is people who live upstairs. We don't want parking in front of the stores as well. So on a Friday night, they come home from work, they park in front of whatever, and they stay there until Monday morning. That is the problem that we were trying to avoid. The 3-hour parking does that, and it is only for the downtown district.
Was there something with the residential parking was going to be addressed? There was a concern about residential. That's going to.
Parking that required R1A to have 2 off-street parking. Our attorney felt that that was better handled in zoning and land use rather than in an ordinance.
So that's not on the table for that, yeah.
Not
Okay, all right. Okay, any question, want to go around? Ray, do you have any questions about the parking ordinance?
Yes. It's my understanding that the 2-car limit for parking in R1, R2, R3, the motion said they would remain. Is that correct?
Yes.
No, the motion.
Yes, yes.
They have said that it remains. Our attorney advised us to put it in zoning in chapter 38.
And when are we going to do that?
It's on the agenda for the next planning commission.
Joey, anything else about parking? Okay, Cindy?
I agree that we've been discussing parking for months and months, 6 months, 8 months. I'm not sure how long it's been. We've heard numerous comments and I think that as written, it addresses the issues that we plan to address. Some of the comments relate to administrative issues like painting, curbing, that's VDOT or administration. Signage, I know there's a committee working on that. So I think some of those other issues are being addressed. I don't think that the zone is too large. It does include both downtown and the wharf, but I think once it was clarified with the definition that it only included marked spaces, that pretty much defined it as we know it now and not the entire length of the street, which was my concern. So I'm in favor of it as written.
Mavis, any comments? Sure. Sarah?
Yes. The very beginning, I'm curious why the on a sidewalk and blocking any portion of a public or private driveway are struck through. This is on page. I can't read the page number.
Yeah, that's a problem.
section, sir?
I might be able to clarify, if you look
It's-
at page 11, those have been unstricken. They're back in the ordinance, so the clean copy has those added.
Okay.
back. They're
So-
just-
I misunderstood. I thought the copy starting on page 11 was the original, not the merged.
That's accepted,
Okay, thank you.
So page 11 is the clean copy.
yes.
I have a couple of wording things, but I'll come back to those. On pages 5 and 6,
You're
There
back,
are-
you're back on the non.
I'm back on the marked up one. There are two places where there's a specific fine amount listed. And in one of those, it has the uniform fee schedule struck through. The first, that one is on the parking in an electric car charging thing. And my question is the reason that this gives a specific amount that the state code doesn't have a fee for that yet? Okay. And then on the next one of those is disabled parking violation that says 150 on the next page. So there's not a fee for that in the state code?
That is the fee state code, and then also the administrative charge that goes along with it.
Okay, but why are we not referring it to the state code so that when that gets updated, this will follow?
Does anybody have a
that-
problem with that?
I-
Changing it
Okay.
from $150 to the punishable by the United States.
But that's what the state code says now, correct? Okay.
It's the Virginia Uniform Fee Schedule.
And then my question on the definition of the downtown district.
Can you refer to where you're pointing?
Sorry, page 7. Bottom of page 7, that last paragraph. And it may be, well, there's some punctuation that's not clear in the next to the last sentence, which isn't a sentence. Does it include all of King Street and Crockett Avenue or only parts? Is there supposed to be a semicolon after Market Street?
It's supposed to be in the entirety of King Street, Crockett Avenue.
Okay. So I think a semicolon after Market Street would fix that. And then the wording thing that I had going back to page 4. Item A. Now says whenever any vehicle, trailer, or semi-trailer is found on the public streets or public grounds unattended by the owner or operator and constitutes a hazard to traffic, say, and constituting a hazard to traffic, or is parked in such a manner. Oh, is found or is parked. So leave that second is. Is found and it's to be that it's only if it's a
In
hazard.
Such a manner as to be in violation.
Now, is found on and constitutes, or is, okay, never mind. I was reading it a different way. Thank you.
Nothing, Paul? Back to you, Mavis.
My first question is, when would this be enforced if we ratify it right away? Would this be, would this be enforced tomorrow if we voted for it today?
No, I would ask that you put a date out there so that we can get signage, we can get curbs painted, that type of thing.
Okay, because there is so much else that depends on this being correct. Parking signs, parking places, what's inhibited and all of those things. Okay,
And that's, so, my guess would be that, probably 6 months, we could have this, the parking instruction signage.
okay. So,
Can't do it.
We've got one of the young people that works at the wharf is gonna do some curb painting for us, so.
well, that was my own, one you pointed out about the hazard was the other one. That's,
I have another one, Mr.
Sure.
So I think what you're saying is council needs to set a date when this will go in effect. And on page 7, I'm, the north spurs of Ames Street and Mount Prospect Avenue Bridge up to Market Street. Is there 3-hour parking on Mount Prospect Avenue and Ames Street?
Ames Street, there are going to be parking spots on the west side. That was part of the parking plan, so on the west side of Ames Street, there are gonna be, I'm gonna say 4 spots, but it may be 3.
that's right by the park.
Yeah, right down in that neck of the woods.
I see.
Not on the other side of the bridge.
That's what
Not
I
on
was
the other
asking.
side, Not on the other side. No. That's why I said the north spur, because it was across across.
I
the
understand.
bridge.
I understand now.
And-
And Mount Prospect Avenue Bridge?
It would be the same thing, but that's there for drop off.
Yeah, because that's how it is now,
FedEx, So.
right?
No room for anything
We'll
else.
put a 3-hour
On this side of the bridge, correct? All right, thank you.
Could I ask a question about King Street? I'm not clear on King Street.
Okay.
What's happening with that?
Technically, this involves all of King Street where the curbs aren't painted. And the chief is going up, that's his first street to paint the curbs. So he is going to determine where parking can happen and can't happen. An example would be right across the street from Mr. Bagwell's parking lot. It's currently red. There are meanings that I should know because I drive a vehicle about the colors of paint on curbs. And he's gonna paint those yellow. So he's got the parking plan for King Street. No, it's not gonna be the entire length of it. And he's gonna take care of it with curb paint.
Will it be one side of King Street or both sides?
No,
It'll be north or south side.
It'll be right in front of your place.
Thank you.
all right, any questions about the parking ordinance? Can we have a motion to approve this ordinance and a date that it should be in effect? Can we, is it first of the year? Can we do it? Oh, that's too
Yeah,
soon.
maybe,
How about March 1?
Okay,
How about March 1?
okay.
Gives us plenty of time to get the signs, get them dug into the sidewalk. We'll be done with wayfinding signs then, so we'll make sure we have them spaced out properly.
And improvements to Queen Street parking
Yeah.
would all be in effect by then so that you can enforce this and people will have a place to park and people who are
Queen-
staying over in the buildings
Queen Street's
upstairs.
not going to be done by then, I can
Well,
tell you that.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
you know, the magnitude of the adjustments over on King Street, so, or Queen Street rather. So that I can't answer obviously, but
All right, can we have a motion here? If that's, we have a, somebody want to make a motion?
Can we compress that time frame any, Matt? That's an
Yeah.
awful
Yeah.
long time.
Yes.
signs are kind of messy because you have to drill into the sidewalks and things like that. We've got signs that we need to take out of the sidewalks. We're gonna be putting other wayfinding signs into the sidewalks, so it's not just gonna be these, so that's why I hedged. But if, you know, we wanted to move it to, you know, January, February for these signs, it doesn't scare me off.
January 1.
Can we go January 1st?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, if something comes up, just let us know and.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree, because our businesses and residents have been asking for this for quite a while.
Well,
So I think we can move on it.
Tax season and up during that same block. So if I could get February, then I can have the month of January to sort of take a breath.
Okay.
February 1.
February 1. Thank you.
I'm still waiting. Need a motion. Not gonna,
I move that we adopt the parking, Article 2, stopping, standing and parking revisions with the revisions to those discussed tonight to be effective February 1st of 2025.
second,
I second it.
discussion. All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? I did, is it unanimous? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, all right. All right, okay, any comments about the special use permit? Matt, you want to tell us that there was a couple changes we made since the last time?
Changes we made from last time are, we put back in that the town strongly considers neighbors' opinions while issuing a special use permit. That's in there 2 times. And then the auditors, that's what I'm working on. The attorneys allowed for us to put this phrase in. The special use permit ceases entirely when the property changes ownership, whether by formal sale or transfer between taxable entities.
Where's that?
And that is, those were the changes that we also had. We also removed all of when the attorney put in, tenants, boards and chambers could apply for. Those were removed. It's the property owner or the subsequent property owner that's contingent.
Okay, any discussion on this one?
Yeah.
Paul?
Somebody else's thunder, but it looks like there's just a spacing issue on page 3 of the clean copy, where section 38-501 appeal process, the 2 lines afterward, in the middle of it, it says section 38-502. And I assume that's just a spacing problem. And so normally I prefer to do that in private, but
Sarah?
Yes. First off, Matt, where is the piece about the ending when there's a change of ownership? I've overlooked that.
I'm looking at the clean copy, and that is on page 21. The upper number 5. Second sentence.
Thank you.
I don't see it. Second
Number
sentence.
5.
That's not what she asked.
Yeah, it is. It's the
Yes.
second sentence in there.
When the property changes ownership. Okay. Well, that's my question. Page
Now, hold
seven.
on a second, we're still.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah,
I thought
anything
you were
else?
done.
Yes. On page 17, or for the clean copy page, let me see. Page 20. 38-497, number 1. The second sentence is missing a verb.
Lisa Phoebe caught that one and sent it to me as well, so.
Okay,
I corrected that without anybody knowing it.
okay.
What verb did you use?
Such application shall be accompanied by detailed proposed land use.
Okay, and then in item 4 in that same grouping, town councils needs an apostrophe between the L and the S, please. Referring to joint public hearing. That the planning commission should have its hearing before the town council apostrophes. And those were the only ones I had.
Mavis?
I'm on page 21. And it says 2 of 3 on the very bottom of it. I'm on section 5. And it says establish a time limit for expiration. If you don't put in something specific there, is that not an arbitrary decision?
Oh, is this the town thing? Okay, let me just.
Hard to hear them.
We understand that, but this is for a special use permit that is not governed by that. So is it arbitrary?
Yes.
Whoa,
Your sound sucks.
Hang on.
Short-term rental.
You
It's
define-
not a short-term rent, yes.
To a special use
Special
permit.
use permit that is not a short-term rental.
okay. On this section B of that area, the town council may require a bond in a reasonable amount determined by the council. Why would you be issuing a special use permit to something that you would also feel nervous enough to have a bond issued for it?
Well, if there were any possible.
Like what kind of
damage to town
situation?
assets,
What
if
kind of
there's any
situation?
Side she's on.
assets, you would want to have that bonded so that if anything bad happened,
Can't hear what the hell he's saying.
No, I can't.
so that's all there is to it. It's just.
Do you have could you just give me an off the top of your head example of something that might be covered in that kind of thing?
I open a pool business next to your
You can't hear
yard.
him, you can hear her, you can't hear him.
Chlorine spills into the. That's gonna take a lot of money to fix.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Could you please
Would that be
speak
happening
up?
anyway, next to my business? My house. Okay.
Anything else?
Wait a second, maybe I had one more, because I put a little check mark on the bottom. Yeah, okay. On section, well, it says section 38-502 penalties and.
What page are you on again?
Oh, I'm sorry, page 19. And that section 38-502. At the end of that first paragraph, let me just see what it says here. Oh, so the paragraph is one big sentence.
That's a mess.
Yeah, well, yeah, the procedure here in this area, can this just be said without procedure? I mean, it's just this, I'm asking a question about maybe the legality or the clarity of this paragraph.
Well, the clarity we can work on, the legality has already gone through council. So.
Counsel? Oh, legal counsel, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So, you know, the $150 administrative fee is on top of the failure to obey terms of $100, up to $1,000 per violation, and each day during the condition that it continues is a separate offense.
Okay, but it says it's the same manner of real estate taxes and shall be a real estate tax lien.
That
And
means
that's,
that if you don't pay these fines, it gets attached to your taxes.
I get a tax, okay, it gets attached to your taxes, but is it a legal lien on the property?
Well, unless you file it, it's not.
Okay, that's. All right.
You can add it to somebody's taxes. but
You can
that's
always
all.
add to the taxes if somebody doesn't do something, but what is your legal procedure thereafter? So I guess is my question.
That's where the lawyer comes in.
Okay, thank you.
Cindy?
That whole sentence in section 38-502, the second sentence, that's a mess. That's got to be reworded.
Okay.
And we need to see it before we take any action. I did have another question on section 38-499,
Page number, please.
21 on the clean copy. 6 and 7, and maybe 5 were added by the attorney.
Mhm.
Those are very general, value-laden type of statements. Did they give you any indication of why they put them in there?
Pretty boilerplate.
Morals?
What's it? What? How are we supposed to use that?
Well, you could strike morals. I think the
I
public
don't
health.
think we can regulate morals.
Yeah. And general welfare, yeah. Page
I think
21.
Section
Number
38-499, number 6. The public health, safety, morals, and general welfare will not be adversely affected.
Well, I think the public health needs to stay in there. It could be some.
And
issue.
safety,
Yeah,
Yes.
morals.
yeah, we'll scratch. Does anybody agree?
Scratch
Get rid of morals? I don't. Anybody have a
Everybody okay
problem
with
with
that?
morals?
Let's take that out.
I have lots of problems with morals, but
Yeah.
that's a different story.
And even general welfare is pretty vague. I
Yeah, that's in a lot of things.
like public health and safety.
Okay.
Can we live with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. We're making it less restrictive, so that's not a problem. All right, anything else?
Wait a minute. Necessary safeguards will be provided for protection, number 7, of surrounding property, persons, and neighborhood values.
Again.
That's a broad area. And who gets to decide? Yeah,
Mhm.
not that we don't want those things, but it's just a
Well, you're protecting
decision.
the surrounding property and person, so you're already covering it. in there.
Neighborhood values.
It's this opinion today, somebody else's opinion tomorrow, and that's not law.
Well, it is a special use permit, so there's a lot of leeway in that, so, no, it's not, no, I think you're right. Once everybody agree to strike the neighborhood values.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Joy?
I'm on page 20 of the clean copy, and we appreciate the clean copy. It makes it much easier. An application for a special use permit may be submitted by the property owner, contract purchaser with the owner's written consent. So in other words, that's somebody that wants to buy the property. If they have the owner's consent, then they can apply for an SUP. Or the owner's agent of the property affected. Define that.
Their property manager, their real estate agent.
Okay.
their
I think it could be an attorney.
attorney.
Power of attorney, anything. Any other questions? Ray? Okay, so consensus is we want to see this sentence rewritten before we vote on this. This is not it's not an emergency on this, so we're gonna, you're gonna rewrite, bring it to us at the next meeting. It should be. Yeah, that's the one substantial change there. Okay, all right. All right, council action, I already got through that. Council discussion, first one is the farmer's market request for town staff to administer grant. I think you got this in your packet last time. It's, nothing's really changed on that. If you have any questions, council, the farmer's market, people here, otherwise, they're just asking for administer the grant. Any questions, anybody?
I'm just curious, is there a difference between what's in the packet and the loose paper that
no.
was on the desk?
No, that's a copy. I didn't know if you got
Okay.
it. That's exactly the
Thank you.
same thing. No
Thank you.
change whatsoever.
The only question I have is what's the amount of the time is really what I'm asking, and effort in terms of the administration of the grant
You'd
on
have
the,
to-
on the town manager and
You'd have to ask Matt about that.
Did not look at the grant application through the Department of Agricultural, but first of all, I'm more than happy to help. And I don't think it would take that much time, given the size of the grant. It's $30,000, all in. That shouldn't be very complicated.
Well, they're writing the grant. You're just going to administer it, right? Yeah, right, yeah.
well, all I'm doing is
Yeah.
Checking.
I'm more than happy to help. Administering it, if I don't have to write it, it's beautiful.
right, okay, so it just trace time, so it won't.
What does that include, please, Matt?
Typically, administration is getting copies of every transaction, submitting it to the agricultural department so that they're aware that the dollars they've issued equals the dollars they've spent. And then there's normally a quarterly report to show status of the project, but this is roll it and put it on the ground. So there's not a huge construction project that would have to be detailed every quarter. So I don't see this as a very complicated administration at all.
I'm just concerned that we've been saying, the EDA and all of those other things that are taking time, and then there's something else that's put on your desk and you're nice enough to say it doesn't take much time, but everything takes time. And I'm just concerned that the next thing that rolls around, you'll just say yes to that as well.
Anybody, Cindy? Joy? Ray? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the town apply for the grant?
I'll move it. That we apply for the
second?
grant.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, school projects and financing package, there's going to be public comment about this. I guess I should, you're, first one hand up. Okay, I saw.
Thank you.
Yeah, please just stay whether you're a resident of the town. You don't have to give us your address or anything.
My name is Kent Sudman. I am a resident of Onancock. First of all, I'm disappointed that you changed the agenda tonight to include comments. Had that been on the agenda that was published, which I read, I would have prepared comments for tonight. That's my first point. Second point, there is much erroneous information out there regarding FOS and the town and what it would cost for different things and who is responsible for them, published in our local weekly newspaper also. One of the items that was published was a visual inspection, and I don't recall offhand the company that did it, but as requested by the town manager, during this discussion tonight, I would like the town manager, if you would direct him to do so, as to why that was done, when it was done, and give us some details about that. Because until this came up, I don't believe that very many people had seen that. To me, the most important question here is who is responsible for capital improvements of the school? Generally, when somebody leases a property, they lease it in a given condition, do maintenance to it, and turn that property back in the same condition in which they received it. Now, FOS in the agreement agreed to do some things at different points of time. First year, I guess, second year, third year, whatever. There was some roof maintenance and some other things, stabilizing some of the property, I believe. I've been here for near 14 years now, and 14 years ago, that furnace, that HVAC was in bad shape. 10 years ago, I spent the winter going over there daily, burping the furnace, draining some water out of it so the damn thing would work. Why did the town, knowing this for all this time, not establish a reserve fund to take care of that? Maybe that goes back to the question again, who is responsible for capital improvements? Why does a lessee improve the property that belongs to the town? Why should they have that responsibility? And where does it say they're supposed to do that? I think that's the main thing that needs to be determined here, and then go from there. As far as I'm concerned, FOS is doing more than they need to do now, because I believe it's the town's responsibility to do capital improvements. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other comments? I guess I'll start in the front row here. Go ahead.
Hi, Carrie Baird. I am a resident. I'm also the vice president at FOS. Today, all of you received 2 emails from us. One is a letter from the board of directors of Friends of Anacog School. And the other was a very short email correcting or clarifying one of the statements in it that was not exactly the way it probably should have been. I have given a copy to Debbie to include in the minutes. And I was wondering if it would be okay if we read that into the record and to the public.
Sure, of course.
Okay.
This
copy?
Okay. Okay. I'm Joni Donahoe, resident of Onancock and director at Historic Onancock School. This is a letter from the Board of Directors of Friends of Onancock School. We were unspeakably sad to read the attack against us in a 2 full-page ad and guest column in Friday's Eastern Shore Post under the guise of transparency and accountability. We are working quite diligently to create intelligent solutions that will help our whole community at a reasonable cost. We agree that clear and open communications are vital, that honest and responsible government are imperative, and that taxpayer and donor dollars should be spent wisely. The actual proposal we made for the town council is reasonable and affordable, as we can demonstrate. The information advertised in the newspaper was melodramatically presented and unfortunately misinformed. Half of the ad reprinted a letter detailing a visual assessment of the school by one company. It surmised that $5.38 million would be needed to make significant improvements and repairs to the property, some necessary and others not. It was a fully developed quote. It was not, excuse me, thank you, nerves. It wasn't a fully developed quote, competitively shopped or appropriately priced. For the work we actually need to do in the next few months, we requested real quotes from reputable local companies without any conflict of interest. The aggregate quote was $532,000 to install new HVAC, to replace a failing boiler and add air conditioning to the facility, replace windows for efficiency, and upgrade electrical to accommodate the new HVAC. The published assessment that itemized these items as critical appeared to price the work at well over $3 million, more than 600% of the true cost. The ad preposterously concluded, the question is, are we insane or is it just malfeasance? No, neither HOS nor the town are acting, they are both acting appropriately. Sorry about that, guys. Another misdirection in the ad was, even though FOS has stated they would repay half the loan to the town, they already owe $133,000. This was referenced from a IRS Form 990 10/23, which by the way was the 2022 fiscal year reported in 2023 as 990s are done. The facts: FOS took out a small business administration or EIDL loan during COVID for $63,500 in 2020 at a 2.75% interest. Due to its super low interest rate and the much higher market interest rate on our reserves, we chose to be financially prudent and pay the loan as agreed without prepaying an additional principal. Excuse me. As of 9/7/2024, the balance of that loan, which is in good standing, is just $59,047 versus current liquid assets and reserves of over $140,000, which ensures stability in unforeseen crises such as COVID. HOS has made a proposal to the town of Onancock to help us with this project in a wise and cost-efficient manner. The details of the proposal are public and should have been referenced in any fair, balanced reporting or advertising. In 2007, HOS and the town agreed that HOS could lease the property from the town for 40 years for $1 a year. Now, in its 17th year, the lease did not create a legal partnership between organizations. However, as most citizens understand, informal partnering with other organizations, including governments, offers a variety of benefits and efficiencies to help everyone. For example, government and nonprofits are eligible and ineligible for different types of grants, loans, and so forth, which means an informal partnership is usually extremely practical, increasing non-taxpayer revenues and lowering costs. This is the simple use of the word partner that we intend. In the lease, HOS is responsible for maintenance of the building to make the school its best place possible for everyone. HOS has invested over $650,000 and untold volunteer hours in maintenance and improvements over 17 years. While we don't own the building, we maintain and care for it. Over the years, all improvement benchmarks in the lease have been accomplished and exceeded, but there is more to be done. We are willing and able not only to continue the maintenance of the property, but also to pay for half of the currently proposed capital improvements. Anyone who argues that HOS cannot afford to do so does not have up-to-date data or could be interpreting it incorrectly. The town of Onancock is able, via the Department of Agriculture, USDA, to access a low-cost 40-year loan that is easily affordable to both organizations. The current interest rate is 4%. A $532,000 loan over 40 years at 4% would amortize at $26,882 annually. HOS proposes to pay half in addition to all our other expenses, saving the town $13,441 in capital expenditures. How many governments would not be willing to invest $13,441 per year into a property that offers such a laundry list of positive attributes as HOS? This is not government waste. The annual amount of $13,441 is less than $12 per town citizen per year. How HOS can afford to pay half of the annual loan payments from the energy savings and increased rents alone. In addition, HOS brings in many visitors to Onancock who spend money in the town's shops, restaurants, and bed and breakfasts. They pay non-resident sales and transient occupancy taxes, which decrease taxes for our residents. To elaborate on the project to be funded, the most critical issue, which must be addressed immediately, is to replace our 102-year-old boiler system. An inspection several years ago indicated that the boiler was nearing the end of its useful life. We have been as prudent, as possible with services and repairs. Earlier this year, a routine check brought into question the boiler's ability to make it through the winter. We worked to develop a reasonable resolution, which resulted in our loan proposal to the town. An energy audit and advice from multiple other sources indicates that installing mini split technology for our HVAC needs will be cleaner, more efficient, and less expensive to run. It would provide an enormous additional benefit, air conditioning for the whole building. And this obviously provides comfort for businesses and the public, but also helps preserve the building, reduce maintenance costs, and financially allows for increased rents to help pay the loan. Also included is replacing existing uninsulated single-pane windows with energy-efficient windows to allow for smaller units and to reduce long-term energy cost. If the town didn't apply for the USDA loan on our behalf, who would care for and maintain the school? Who would perform the safety checks or cleanup and repair for the playground equipment, chalkboards, and little free library? Who would maintain the grounds, soccer fields, disc golf course, nature trail, trees, shrubs, and lawns? What else would go away? Our spacious and affordable gallery and events room would not be available to our community. It is used by many diverse groups and organizations for numerous classes, art shows, fundraisers, meetings, and celebrations. We house numerous businesses who pay a fair market rent according to an analysis by a local realtor, including many artist studios, classrooms, rec rooms, gift shops, a gym, a museum, a seamstress, and a massage therapist. HOS even hosts your community band. Our soon-to-be finished performance pavilion, which we realize that some people oppose, will host additional worthwhile community events such as concerts and plays. If we do not continue to care for the school and maintain it for all the activities listed above, who will? Will the town hire people to do this? Will they sell it to developers? What would the cost of these options be to our town citizens? We ask for the full support of the Onancock Town Council to work together with the Friends of Onancock School in a prudent manner so we may be able to provide a great facility to enrich the residents of Onancock and the entire Eastern Shore community. Thank you for your time.
Anybody, other speakers, please? Just go back. Oh, I can't see who. Laura, sorry, couldn't.
I also don't have anything prepared, so forgive me if I'm disjointed, but I'm a resident of Onancock and I also have a studio at Onancock School. I've been there for, I believe it's 10 years, 8 or 10 years. And it's been very valuable to me as a place to run my art business out of. There are many other people that use the school daily, not just the residents, but the community use the outdoor facilities, the indoor facilities. I was very dismayed to see what was in the paper, that ad, which was full of exaggerations and misinformation. I feel like the FOS, the school board, really tries to put out as accurate information as they can. They try to be very straightforward. From everything that I've seen improved over the time I've been there has only helped the school, the residents at the school, and the community very much. There aren't, on the Eastern Shore, there aren't a lot of community facilities that are open for everyone to use. We just don't have a lot. This is one, and I can't imagine it being sold for development and we lose that. As for what was in the newspaper, I feel like that was, and all these other things that have been, I know they say they're not anti-school, but it certainly feels that way from the other side, have been done by a relatively small amount of people. And I know that you all want to represent all the citizens of Onancock and not just the ones with the money and the louder voices. So I hope you will, vote to put in that small amount. As a resident, I'm more than happy to pay my $12 a year or whatever it comes out to be to keep the school going. Because without heat, we're done. So thank you.
Yes.
Hold the applause.
Yeah.
My name is Cherry Tapman. I am not a resident of Hancock. However, I did attend the school. My mother owns a business in Hancock. This is not really why I came. I came to ask about my cannon. I say my cannon. I came to ask about your cannon. I wanted to know if the town, and I'm asking you to please think about the cannon in this too. But I am going to say, I do love the school. I would hate for the school to be sold, torn down, or turned into condominiums. I don't know what the best avenue is for this. I do think it's an asset for the town. Other towns have had to lose their schools, and Hancock certainly doesn't look like Central right now. It needs a lot. I was not necessarily on board for the amphitheater, but because I feel like maybe that money should have fixed the roof or the heating or the whatever first. But that's just my personal opinion. But please take into everything consideration, but it is an asset to this town, and look into the cannon.
Thank you. I guess, second, yeah, I can't see who these, yeah.
Karen Belkman.
Karen, I'm sorry, I can't. Right class.
My name's Karen Belknap, and my husband, Mark Belknap, and we are artist residents at Historic Hancock School. And as the others voiced, I hope that you'll forgive any bobbling of our comments because we would have come prepared had we known. But I'm just going to give this rundown, and please excuse any bobbles. So Mark and I share a studio space at the school. We have for many years. I want to start by saying years ago, and I can't even tell you how many years ago, Elizabeth Hunt tried to get me to move into the school to have a working studio space there. And I told her that there was no way I would ever move into the school because it was in such bad repair at the time that I can't have fiber in there. How times have changed, and thank you, HOS, because I value our workspace there. And I was lucky enough to get Elizabeth's space after she passed away, and I cherish that. So I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can. This is a sales report for anyone who may be interested at how much money we make at the school. I want to let you know I have the most regular hours, Mark and I, at the school during the summer, because that's my goal, is to be open 5 days a week, Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 4, Saturday, 10 to 1. We're there from May 1st through September 10th. From May 1st to the current date, we have made 62 sales for my 5 days a week there. That comes down to 15.5 sales per month. Or if you want to go by the week, I'm there for 5 days to make 3.8 sales. 98% of my sales are made, hang on one second, by my own hands, one at a time. Almost all of those items are under $30. Some are as low as $3.50. As I said, I have the most, by far, open hours during the week. I'm happy to bring people into town. They not only come in to see the school, but they go to the restaurants as well. And we encourage them to come back and stay overnight. We have upstairs, at the upstairs level, if I counted right, please correct me if I'm wrong, 15 total rooms. 12 of the 15 rooms are artist occupied. One of the remaining 3 is a ping pong club. I heard a quote by a resident here who I do not know, that the school is nothing but a mall. Do we seem like a mall to you? I have heard other people say that the artists should pay what retail venues pay on Market Street. Please take my sales as data from May 1st to today. Do you really think that we can afford to do what retail venues who do not have to make every item by hand to sell? Do you think that we could afford to do that? No, that's not what we do. We are working artists. Those remarks, the people who make those remarks, they're either uninformed or ill-intentioned, and I don't know which one. My grandmother would have said that the remarks were gauche and impolite, as people should not overstep their bounds and should stay out of other people's business. So why are school artists there? We're there for the workspace. We need a place to make what we make. Am I done? Am I winding up? Okay. So Mark and I would be happy to give a tour to anyone who really doesn't know what goes on there. From an artist's point of view, I want to point out that Laura, Laura, I'm speaking for you, sorry. Do you know how she makes her sales? She makes what she makes at the school, and she hustles her butt to as many art shows as she can find. So that's that. Love you all. We are well-intentioned. If you don't know what the school does and you want to find out, come find us. We'll take you on a tour.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Hold the phone. Debbie, I think I forgot we need to time them. Yeah, thank
Mary
you.
Clements.
Mary? We forgot.
It was like that.
Mary Clements, and as I said before, I am a taxpayer of Anacog. I am not contesting the work that FOS has done for the school. I'm not discussing or contesting the talent of the people who live and work at the school. I also make items by hand, and I do have a building on Market Street. I've had it for 25 years, and I do make a profit, so I have some issues with that. I do definitely agree with what the first gentleman had talked about. I believe that it's time to do a little bit more activity as far as town council is concerned. It is a piece of town property. The council has abdicated all that authority to FOS, who has taken on actually a great deal of authority and work. I'm not going to go over everything, but I can tell you that Bancroft Construction, if you want to look, that's who did the assessment. And if you look at their website, they have an extremely good website, and they have a huge amount of work that they've done. They understand on all kinds of different various buildings. They do schools, they do community centers. So I actually probably believe that Bancroft has a better estimate than what the local contractors can offer, because they have more experience. Also, there have only been a few local contractors that, according to the stuff that was published, that have provided estimates. And in one category, there's only one contractor. I'd like to know who those contractors are and what they have actually looked at. FOS has, according to the public records, over $113,000 in debt. The project ends up adding to their debt bottom line $13,441 a year. Now, the statements about the potential incomes is a real issue for me. They're asking for a 40-year loan, 40 years. Then the information is rather sparse. The $8,000 that they say they're going to save in the offset of the use of gas is going to be eaten up immediately by ANEC, because they have already talked about a 5 and 9% increase across the board, and they've advertised that. 40 years exceeds FOS current lease. So what happens if there's no more FOS there, or if FOS itself completely dies? Who ends up with that money that we end up owing? I'm very worried about that. And I don't care if it's 40 years, I'll be dead by then. But the problem is so is a lot of other things that are going to be dead by then, other issues. The overall plan, I think, is incorrect. I can tell you that a leaky roof is going to be worse than what ends up happening as far as heating or cooling. Okay. Town council really needs to accept the responsibility in maintaining this building and seeing what's going on. He's got better abilities to make any kind of assessments than anybody on the school. And there are other red flags in this whole thing that need to be discussed, but that's for now.
Got anybody else? I can't see who that is. Far left. Yeah, Dr. Feldhausen? Yeah, I think so.
Greg Feldhausen, a resident of Anancock. I'm here to try to dispel some of the things that I've heard, at least in the community here recently, regarding my letter to the editor this past week. I'm glad the defibrillator is here. So let me just for a moment back up as to how all this stuff began and why I got the burr in my butt to write that editorial. It goes to the pavilion. I'll be very honest. That was a surprise to the entire community, a surprise to me personally. But that said, at the February meeting, and if you go back and look at the video, you'll notice Joni made the kind thank you to the town for paying for an assessment of the school. Kind of piqued my interest. Several of our group asked repeatedly for a copy of that evaluation, to no avail, which led us to FOIAing that request, which was finally produced. That came to us in May. For several months, we said nothing about it because we didn't know. We had no idea who Bancroft was or why it was done in the first place. And remember, over a year, 2 years ago, we were making comments about the fact that the oil furnace, the roof, the windows, all those were problems at the school that needed to be corrected. The town council didn't do anything about it, I regret to say. I am not against the Friends of Anancock School. I am for putting the responsibility for the obligations to that school at the feet of the people that are responsible for fixing it. The town council, the town. My letter was written to open the eyes to all the residents of the town as to the extent of the issues that exist at that school. They are not small, they are very large. And it's our responsibility to all the taxpayers in the town, not the rich folks, not the poor folks, not the artists. Everybody should be aware of the liability that that school has brought to us. So the mayor, several months ago, said the note was going to be $350,000, was made mention. That disappeared for a period of time. At the last town council meeting, a person representing the school, not necessarily the town council, said that the loan had been proposed for $500 and some thousand, 40 years. As it was just said, I'll be dead. Everybody in this room probably will be. And our kids and grandkids will have that debt, and FOS may not be here. So I tried to ask our town manager what the reserves were for the town. So I still don't know. So the point being is there are probably better solutions to getting the money to the school if the repairs are needed, and I am sure that they are needed, whether it be for the roof, the windows, the heating system, whatever it might be. Town reserves may be a possibility. An open meeting to say, okay, we all chip in an extra $1,000 this year and make it work for everybody. But to libelize our kids for 40 years, not a good idea. And that's what my whole thing was trying to say. Thank you.
Yeah, any other comment? Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. I can't see who that is. Oh.
Katie.
Hey. Katie. Come on.
I'm Katie Schwab. I'm a resident of Onancock. I come here. I've been here 3 years, but I know that when I came here, that one of the reasons to come to this town was the reputation of the school. I was told this was the center of the arts community on the Eastern Shore, and this was such a tremendous asset for the town. And I've certainly found that to be true. It's welcoming, it's friendly, it has a wonderful array of programming. Now, this issue tonight that's before us, it seems to me, is fairly straightforward. The town's being asked to support a loan to make a capital improvement to property that the town owns and will always own. It's not a luxury improvement. It's so the heating will work and work efficiently. It bothers me a lot that this major ad was placed in the local paper, which means a lot here in this town, with no attribution, with really inflammatory language, and really without checking the facts. And I understand and appreciate that the town council needs to make a responsible fiscal decision, and I would hope that you will do that. But I also think that it's very important that we keep in mind that the town council has had a seat on the board of Friends of Onancock School since its formation. There's no issue of transparency with this organization, as far as I can tell. I think all the information is there. I think they've acted in good faith to maintain their property and carry their end of the bargain and more for the benefit of all the citizens and residents here. And so I would urge you to keep that in mind, and rather than become overly influenced by allegations that are made in anger or without complete set of facts. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, Rick.
Rick King, I'm on the board of directors. I haven't lived outside the town, but have been actively involved in the historic Onancock School since we moved to town. My wife is an artist, has a studio in the building. We've been coming to the Eastern Shore for over 50 years. My wife has family buried in just about every cemetery on the Eastern Shore. So for all the years that we've driven down here and driven down Route 13, and we see the evidence of a community on the Eastern Shore when you drive down Route 13, that's a relatively poor farming community in a lot of areas. There are a lot of things that children and families on the Eastern Shore don't have the ability to see, and that's cultural events. And if you want to talk about children, look at the children on the Eastern Shore of Virginia that would benefit by having activities, children's shows, theater groups and stuff at the Eastern Shore, at a pavilion, would be a tremendous benefit, not just to local residents, but to the children of the Eastern Shore of Virginia. It's sadly missed. I can't say enough about how important this is, that FOS's message is, and our mission statement is to provide that cultural and activities, which is our primary mission of the Friends of Onancock School. And to have people try to engage in less than desirable comments and stuff about what we're doing. This was approved in 2019. The initial plans or the initial presentation was in fall of 2019. Excuse me, let me go back one step. We approached the town through the.
Are you talking about the pavilion?
Yes,
we're talking about the loan here, though.
No, I understand.
Okay,
but
thank you.
Anyway, the pavilion represents an opportunity to provide a very real potential to create funds for a 501c3. All funds raised at that pavilion will go to the property as a 501c3. For people to spread rumors that at the local barbershop, that I was a music promoter, and that I was getting a percentage of the take from the pavilion. Has not been very fair, to say the least. But all right.
Thank you. Okay, Mark?
Good evening, Mark Sinclair, 1 street out of town. This all started years ago over the pavilion, so I appreciate why he would bring the pavilion into it. And it was started with an ad campaign that said, when pigs fly. And that's caused 2 years worth of delays on the pavilion. It's cost them over $150,000 in increased cost. And like many things in this town that have been kicked down the road, they keep kicking the can down on this idea or that idea, costs go up. And they keep going up. And if we don't come to some solutions, they're going to keep going up more. Now, you may disagree over what contractors came in, but we are in Anacog, Virginia. You try getting contractors to come in here. You try and get a local contractor that's capable of handling some of these jobs. I think they've done a great job of at least putting together reasonable proposals with reasonable contractors to solve the problem. Now, Bancroft, nobody's mentioned that Bancroft has a $500,000 contingency fund in that estimate they put together. Nobody mentioned there's almost $1 million worth of additional fees, just kind of words thrown out there and thrown in. And everybody says that this is a reputable contractor. I trust more the people that we have found that have come in and say they can do the job. Here's what it's going to cost and here's when they're going to do it. Please act on this. Please move forward. Please do not kick the can again. Thank you.
All right, okay. All right, I think we've gotten everybody. All right, we're going to go to council comments, discussion. Ray, anybody comments or want to start off? Okay.
This project started in 2007. I was on council at that time. And at that time, the Friends of Onancock School came up and said, we can do this. We want to do this. We will do this. And they have done it. But we will do it without any expense to the town. And that was the word they gave. And that was the word we gave them the lease for. And that's why the lease is $1. To ask now for a commitment to 40 years to not just this generation, but the next generation is unfair and unfounded. Thank you.
Let's hold the applause, please. Paul, you got comments? Anybody? About there?
It's my hope that the town can take responsibility for the property it owns in cooperation with the Friends of the School and pursue the work to get the urgently needed heating and air conditioning system, the electrical upgrades, and the windows done so that the work can continue, so that the surroundings can continue to be supported, so that the studios and shops can continue. And so that we have a center and not a hole on College Avenue, continuing the legacy that goes back more than just the 102 years of the life of the school, but to the earlier institutions of Margaret Academy that are the source of the name of College Avenue. Thank you.
And let's let her. Anybody over here? Cindy?
As I've said before, I believe that the town does have responsibility for property that we own. And I think for the town, this is actually a good deal to have half of a payment versus the entire payment. That I can't remember who it was that was speaking about our responsibility and possibly even suggesting we should pay all of it. I think that what they've presented to us is a very good proposal. I am familiar with Bancroft because my son worked for them for a while. And I'm sure that they are a much bigger concern than what we are all accustomed to dealing with. I also noticed the $1 million in fees and whatnot at the very bottom line. That's hard to understand what they're talking about. I'm sure all of those are protections for their company, and rightly so, but we're not used to that kind of fees and whatever else is in there that protects a large company. So I would say that we're more accustomed to dealing with small contractors, and that's what we should stick with. And I support the proposal.
Joy? Yeah.
Yes, I would like to address some of the comments that were made, starting with Mr. Sedman. I was sitting at the meeting at HOS that Mr. Sabatini was in the MC for, and a board member, lifelong board member, seated beside me, and a friend of mine, still is, said, we need a roof, HVAC, and windows. And that is the first time I heard that the school needed these repairs to it. And I was shocked. And I turned to her and I said, then why are you building a pavilion if you need these things in your school? So I just wanted to address that. I'd also like to address, is it Bancroft? When that came up in the February meeting, when Ms. Donahoe thanked Mr. Spuck for getting the assessment, I questioned that and said, what is it? What are we talking about? And I think I was told, I will send you that information. I got the Eastern Shore Post on Friday, and the banner across the top said, turn to page 27 for the football scores. Well, I was all in. I turned to page 27. It wasn't the football scores, but there was the Bancroft. And that's the first time I think I can accurately say anybody on this council has seen that. Is that correct? Yeah. No? Who saw it? When?
Can I make a comment? to
No,
that?
no.
Well, you addressed me, my
No,
remarks.
I'm sorry, you're out of order. Can you give us give us the Bancroft details? We get that, yeah.
Sure. I asked our architect that's working on the two buildings for us if he knew anybody that could come and give us a visual inspection. Bancroft volunteered to do that for us and came down and did it gratis.
Okay.
Visual.
Right, okay. So,
No,
and
they didn't give a quote. It was just gratis from a very, very reputable company. They sent a team of people down here that were experts at every single mechanical.
so and I mean, I saw the report a couple months ago. It came out. I thought you sent it. Yeah, it was in, I don't think it was any secret. No.
We didn't receive it. We did not. We did not receive that report.
Okay.
The other thing is, it's been mentioned over and over, no development, we don't want so, we don't, there's no talk of that. So let's tamp that down now. This council has always been supportive of HOS. I have a direct question for Ms. Donahoe, and that is, heaven forbid there's rumors in Ancock. Are you continuing as director of HOS?
Can I answer?
Sure, yeah. She's asking an organization. That's why you're here.
Advertise. I declared my retirement time last spring to the board, and they put out the ad earlier in August and are in the process of hopefully hiring someone. I will be there till December 31st.
And we thank you for your service. You have kept that school warm. And so have you received any applications? Have you received any applications?
Process, the search committee is being done by the board of directors. They are hiring their next director, I'm not hiring my replacement.
Good idea. I would like to this council would receive a detailed 3-year historical income statements, and detailed 3 years historical expense statements and income expense projections for the next 5 years. Why? We want to know, will this work? Is this just the beginning of what needs to be done, or is this going to? And I think if we have these documents, then we can make an informed decision.
State that the last 3 years worth are all, the annual report with our income, I'm sorry, financials, they are in the annual report, and everyone is on the website, and you can all see them yourself.
And
As far
for,
as the future, that's the thing to do, but I bet we could come up with as we do a strategic plan, we can only guesstimate, but that's something.
and where would I find those documents?
At foxschool.org,
Okay.
top on the menu, you go to about, and then you'll go to plans and reports.
And that will show your income and expenses for the past 3 years?
Yes.
Okay.
All the way back to 20.
Sure, yeah, let everybody get their bite first.
Okay. It would be better if you bought those to us, but we can search for them.
February.
Yes, and I went back and read that annual report, and more details would be needed at that point, I would think. That's all.
I'd like to see the town council move on this sooner than later, because we are dealing with a heating situation. And we're just beginning fall now, and cold weather's coming, so we need to make a decision soon to get these contractors lined up to make these improvements.
Okay.
It's incumbent upon us.
Mavis, you had a comment?
I do. I'm concerned that going back in time a little bit, the county wrecked that building and we got a piece of garbage back. And we, at that time, said it was throwing good money after bad. That's what the council said back then. And I kind of see, if you wanted, if your vanity project,
Order, please, order.
If you like, I don't care, but the vanity project that this was and still is, it's an asset, and I give it that. And I'm not saying you haven't done a great job, but don't throw the burden back to the town. We didn't want it then, we don't need it now. And the other thing is, you're asking the town to subsidize your artists who are not making any money. Thank you.
Just one piece of information that would be helpful is, I think for me, I'd like to know the cost of replacing the roof so that we can have a complete picture of the investment that we were required.
Yeah, I think I think they can provide that.
I think that, and then I amplify what Joy said about the projections going forward, and the 990s were on the FOS site, but when I looked today, I didn't see them. I saw the annual reports. I went to GuideStar instead, which is a nonprofit organization that has 990s, and you did have 990s going back quite a distance, but I would love to see those back on the FOS site, or, a link so I can see them.
All right. I think, we're not going to think, I think going forward, I think this was the discussion tonight. I think we're not going to take a vote on this, but I'd like to see it on the agenda in 2 weeks from now. But I think my question is, what are we going to do what's going to happen for the people that are opposed if we don't do anything? But there doesn't seem to be any a lot of conversation about, let's not do this. So what are we going to do? I think we need to look into that. We need to think about what to do. I think the other thing is that we've got 2 weeks coming up. I would like to ask Matt to, start, there's a lot of information about this loan that we don't know about. I think you should start the program to see what, what's involved and start, there's a lot of preliminary things that can be done that would shorten the time frame if we, if we vote to so proceed. Otherwise, we basically wasted 2 weeks. And you saw the loan documents requirements are in the package. There are a lot of them. So I think it would behoove them to start looking at that, and then we can get the information to the rest of council. If you have any other, it doesn't seem like people are asking for that much more information that isn't readily available. So that would be, we're not going to make a decision tonight. We're going to be back here in 2 weeks. We're going to allow public comment again. So, and hopefully we'll get
More information.
more, yeah. Hold on a second. Let me, so any other comments about
Yes,
council? Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
I've heard tonight that this is going to cost $12 a year.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I heard tonight that this is going to cost $12 a year for the residents of Anacog. A $532,000 loan at 4% for 40 years. And my first question is, why is it 40 years? Because it brings the price down. We will repay in interest $535,247 for a total of $1,067,247. If we divide that by the 762 homes that are the resident tax-paying citizens of Anacog, that comes to $1,400 for each home. It's a little bit more than $12 a year because it's a 40-year loan.
You're not looking at, you're not talking at inflation or what the cost of money is 40 years from now. I mean, any economist is going to grab a 4% loan. I mean, that's,
Households.
yeah, and you're looking at, it's.
Outside of town.
Can I
Yeah.
say
Yeah, I mean, I
something?
think there was one suggestion we use reserves, but, you're getting, I mean, we're currently paying that on our water system, our sewer
Why would
system.
we not use the reserves?
Because you're getting money,
Sorry,
you're
I
getting
don't think
money
they
at
can hear us.
4%. The reserves are making more than that. Yeah, I mean, that's just.
If the organization is credit worthy
Yeah.
to do a project at a time as you can afford it, then that would make sense to me. If you're talking about you've got a $500,000 project in front of you. And I remember doing a garden, 1 square foot at a time, because that's how I could do it by myself. And if you look at your project here, look at it as a project and fix that one thing and then move on to the next. If you're credit worthy for $19,000 a year, get a loan for that yourselves. I know, because I understand that. I
Then
understand.
why did you propose it?
Because I think it makes sense to say,
Um,
to do
okay.
it yourself. Okay.
Well, we have existing, we have USDA loans now that are for 40 years, the water system and the sewer system. They're very common, yeah.
That's a question I would like to
Yeah,
ask.
but they're at
is,
a lower interest rate, yeah.
I would like to ask you
Yeah.
and Maphis
Yeah.
and Ray, who have been on council longer than, or maybe about the same as I have.
Yeah.
What I know the town has borrowed money for is to buy the bank building, which we've sold since then, to invest in our sewage, to invest in our water. Am I correct? Are
Yeah,
there
and they're-
other loans?
We have police vehicles, trucks, things like that. The bank building was not a USDA loan. That was just a local. Yeah, that was just a standard commercial.
How
loan. That's
much
been
do
paid
we
off
have encumbered in debt at this time?
2 point something. It's just
It's
for,
in the budget every time.
it's just for the water system, correct? The only, yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, there's no, I mean, yeah, I think we need to think about it. I think it's a lot of stuff's on the table. We'll get some information, and we'll bring it back up in 2 weeks, things like that. Okay. All right.
Loan process, or if you apply, are you guaranteed accepted?
Well, I think that's what we're going to try to find out in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. Matt would be able to answer that more. Did you hear the question? No, whether it's a competitive. Yeah, it's a loan. Yeah, I don't, yeah, it's a loan. It's not a grant. Yeah. Mhm. Right. Yeah, I mean, I know we borrowed somewhere around, or between grants and borrowing, we borrowed something like $12 million to do the sewer plant, which we now don't have any more debt on that, but gave it away. All right, well, we'll bring it up in 2 weeks, and then yes. I think it's about 0.8. I looked it out. It's less than 1%. Less than, well, I think our out budget is what, 1.2 million? Yeah. Yeah. Right, right. Yes, yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. The next item on the thing is the oak tree fence options, and we're gonna, any public comment on this one? Okay, I'm not gonna make public comment. All right, Matt, you want to give some details about this?
Nobody cares.
Yeah, folks that asked me to give you fence options, and what I did was went through and gave different styles of fences because I didn't want to honestly burden.
Quiet, please.
It get back to me today with one quote. Now the measurements to go around the tree are 101 by 85. It's 372 linear feet. In order to cover the canopy that's on the west side, we would have to tear up 15 feet of the parking lot in order to put the fence there. So that 101 by 85 would completely surround the tree, and it would stay on our property line. I picked the most expensive fence to get a quote for, just because at this point, there's nowhere to go but down. And that quote was $11,489. And that's from Accomack Fence. We all know them. We all love them. They do good work. So
Which one is that?
And which design?
It's not in there.
Which is
that number, and that's for the wrought iron.
Page
That's for the
31.
wrought iron fence.
Page 31.
And how tall is that? Okay,
11,489.
489. Okay,
It's got one gate in it that's large enough to fit the mower through, but other than that, there's no openings.
Is there a possibility of is there a way to reuse when the tree goes? Is this fencing, or can we think forward to say that there might be a way to reuse and repurpose?
It depends how the tree goes, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know someday, because I've seen the portable fencing kind of thing that also has a permanence to it.
Now, these would have cement footers in them, but, we have a backhoe, we can pull a cement footer, that's not a problem. So if we know the tree is in distress, we know it's coming down, yes, we can pull the fence.
I would like to see an estimate for the fence on page 30.
Is that the bollard with the, yeah, I like that one.
Well, cost plays a role here in, talking about 372 linear feet, $11,500. That's quite expensive. So could you get an estimate for this one?
I would suggest that fence is not much of a barrier. Children and dogs will certainly go through it, and someone will be chasing them. I don't see that as a viable barrier.
Child, I would find them.
is your mic on?
Thought it was, there we
There you
go.
are.
Yeah, that was why I was thinking the wrought iron, both in terms of repurposing in the future and actually providing a barrier. I like the chain, but as a child, I would have climbed on it first thing and over it. And I don't think I'm unique that way.
I hear you. I just would like to hear the price
Well,
for it.
we have a committee that's working on the design of the parking lot. Is it much to ask them to, I think the question is, can we ask them to come up with a plan for what the fence is going to look like, what's going to cost, and, and kind of roll it in with the whole parking lot design. And then, and I guess our consensus is that we're going to try to keep the tree, save the tree and fence it. Is that the consensus of the group? And then let's not quibble about prices right now. Present them to us through, give us several options, correct? And, what is, because it's going to depend on how we design the whole parking lot, Is that good?
One more question to Matt, please. I'm sorry. Sorry. Do we have to get permission and right of ways or anything to put this fence up?
No, he said it was on our property.
No, that's town property.
Okay, thank you.
I
Sarah.
have a question for Mr. Belknap. Do you have any guidance to offer as far as the height or impenetrability of the fence to give the kind of barrier that you're suggesting?
I think that was a legal issue.
Type of fencing, with some appropriate signage on there, that's asking people to stay out, is gonna discourage targets inside the drip line of the tree and therefore reducing your risk.
Thank you.
I talked to the insurance carrier, and that was her concern, is that we need to make the fence somewhat, not so easy to get over. I mean, it just reduces your liability more. Somebody can always go over a fence if they have to, but yeah. All right. Yeah. So
For what it's worth, my vote is for the
let's
wrought iron one.
Yeah, I think it looks great. Well, is that a consensus that we're at the committee to come in the next, so we're not gonna, we're not gonna take the tree down tomorrow morning. Okay, good. All right, okay, anything else? All right, there are no other scheduled business, no committee close, all right. Any other comments or?
Just to clarify the directive, you did request that the town manager begin to gather information.
Yeah, I think that was an administrative request. I don't think that,
Okay.
he's.
For what?
To get information about the loan, about, everything like that, yeah.
I just want to be sure that was understood.
Yeah, and I think, and the tree, we're gonna wait, committee, we need to set up a committee.
This needs to be done
Yes, I know.
now,
I know, yeah.
now.
Well, we could put up, it's possible we could put up a better temporary fence if it's gonna take quite a while, but or better ropes or something, or I'll let you worry about that.
Driveway around that.
Okay, we'll come back with the prices for the different fences and then we can decide if we want to, but give us we're not going to decide anything tonight. It was just discussion. Okay. All right. Any other comments from anybody? All right. We'll be back here in 2 weeks. Correct. All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, we need second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Kick the can down the road. Don't yell at me.